Hi, Papa Dr. Tochi with today's video on specific things that can bring about physical and spiritual body odor. I am aware that I already have a video on spiritual body odor, but I've gotten so many questions since that video, and there's some consultations I've had since having that video that I felt that further clarification would be helpful. So that's what we're going to look at in this video. I encourage you to go get the drink, get the snack, get the notebook, get the pen, and let's have us some forbidden fruit. Some of the stuff that other people won't tell you. Welcome back. Remember, if you need to get a hold of me, please go to my website at tochi.us, tochi.us. I don't do transactions outside of my website. If you need to book a consultation, get a dream interpretation, get divination, get some work done, buy some product services, and importantly, get your spiritual practice coaching, please go to my website at tochi.us. Now let's get into today's class. Many people around the world suffer from physical body odor. Sometimes it's their fault, sometimes it's not their fault. And when people are interested or have some idea of spiritual things, their first inclination is to blame it on the spiritual. Somebody has done something to me. Someone has put a hex on me. Someone has cursed me, and so on and so forth. And many people, even though in consultation I ask them, have you gotten a physical? They will say, yes, I've gotten a complete physical checkup, and they said nothing is wrong with me. Oftentimes that is not the case. They just want to dispense with that. They don't believe that anything physical will be found. They have fully vested in their own self-diagnosis, and they don't want to even discuss the possibility that there are some physical things that might be wrong with them. But I want us to look at this topic very, very objectively and not just be emotional about it and just say everything is spiritual. Because remember, we live in a world of duality. We have the physical and the spiritual. So let's get into it. Let's look at the physical aspect first. There are several things that can cause a person to have a body odor on a physical level. Okay? And remember that when we have, or anyone has a body odor, it is pointing to something. There is a cause. So even when we talk about the spiritual, okay, it still is pointing to a cause. There is a reason for this body odor. Okay, so let's look at the physical. There are so many things in the physical that can cause someone to have body odor. Okay, bacteria, sweat, hormones, food, alcohol, smoking, caffeinated products like Coke and coffee and tea that has high caffeine content, chocolate, okay, infections, medications, diseases. There are a number of diseases that produce a smell in a person's body, and also some deficiencies, so mineral or vitamin deficiencies in the body. Okay, and remember, keep it in mind, remember what I said about body odor being a signal, just letting you know ahead of time. Now, there are some people who suffer from what is called hyperhidrosis, which is excessive sweatiness. They just sweat a lot. They sweat everywhere. Okay, and some people will go get some laser treatment, sometimes in the armpit or in the groin area, to try and control the activity of the sweat glands, okay, and try and reduce the sweatiness. So if you are a person who sweats a lot, sweats at a drop of a hat, chances are you might have body odor. Now, when it comes to hormones, okay, let me talk about women first. Those of us who have hit menopause and past menopause, we sometimes will have a body odor. Sometimes people call it the old woman smell. Okay, you might be familiar with that expression, the old woman smell. What causes that so-called old woman or old person smell? Like sometimes you might go into a nursing home or the room of an elderly person and you can smell something, okay? And people say, oh yeah, you know, old people stink. They have this odor. Well, what it is that when people get older, especially women, that their testosterone goes up, their cortisol goes up, but the estrogen and the progesterone comes down. When that happens, now the person now starts producing more of a body odor. And this happens sometimes with women in menopause. I know that when I hit menopause, and it still happens to me now and then, I will smell something like rotting garbage, you know, but I'm the only one who smells it. No one around me smells it, okay? And it turns out that some women, when they hit menopause or in menopause, they will smell it, and it's usually very faint. And you'd be going like, what's rotting around here? It smells like garbage. Is there garbage around here? No, it's just changes in the olfactory glands and changes in the brain that pull this mirror and make it, and you know, just like a crossing of wires, hormones and stuff that make you feel like you are smelling garbage when actually there's no garbage around you. Now, another thing that would cause body odors is infection. So when you have yeast infections, bacterial vaginosis, trichomoniasis, you have ear infections, nose infections, skin infections, pneumonia, even pneumonia, tuberculosis, and urinary tract infections, athlete's foot, you know, the infection that people pick up from the gym floor. These can also cause body odor, believe it or not. So do you see why I say it's important to get a complete physical checkup? That you just go there and the doctor just checks your reflex, breathe in, breathe out. Oh, okay, nothing is wrong with you. And then you're like, no, they haven't. No, it's if there is a body odor situation, they need to do a comprehensive physical, check you for infections. And if you're opening your mouth and your tongue and your mouth is all white, covered in white stuff, that's a yeast infection. If you open up your legs and despite all your hygiene, you're always washing and cleaning and deodorizing, and there's still some smell coming from there, you could very well be having a bacterial vaginosis or some yeast infection. And this can also happen to men because, you know, sometimes men will take a shower and they clean up. They don't dry between their legs. They don't dry between their penis and their scrotum. So all that place is still wet and moist. A lot of people don't even dry after their shower or bath. They don't even dry the crack of their butt, you know, the anus all the way up, you know, between the butt cheeks, and that place is constantly moist, okay, and that is a breeding ground for bacteria, okay. Even skin infections. Some people have some skin infections that cause disease, and they may think, oh, it's nothing, but no, it's actually causing you to have a body odor, okay. Now, for diseases. There are diseases that you won't believe that cause body odor. One of them is diabetes. When I researched this and found this out, I was very, very surprised. People who have diabetes, pre-diabetes, sometimes can have body odor. And if you have not been tested for diabetes and you're having a body odor problem, dear one, please go and get your blood sugar checked. There are a lot of people who have high blood sugar issues, and they don't even know they're diabetic. They're just going about their business, and they don't even know they have very high sugar levels until they fall down and go into a coma or something, okay? So diabetes can cause body odor, okay? Then there is a condition known as trimethylamine, okay, which is when someone has problems with the levels of trimethylamine in their body. Now, that particular instance, it smells like rotting or decaying fish. Okay, rotting or decaying fish. And that is also a disease, okay? Dehydration. Many of us are chronically dehydrated. We have cracked lips, cracked skin, cracked heels. We drink everything else but water. It will also cause a body odor. Some people find out that when they drink water and they keep on drinking lots of water, it takes care of the body odor issue. Now, there are also halitosis. You know, people have something going on in the mouth, and if it's coming from the intestines, from the belly, not only will it come out through the mouth, it can also come out through the skin. Now, eating of a lot of sulfur-based foods like eggs, onions, garlics, leeks. There are some people, once they eat that, the sulfur starts oozing from every pore of their skin, and they start smelling. And such people should be very religious about avoiding food cooked with onions and garlic and leek, and even eating eggs, because eggs can be high in sulfur. Now, another cause of body odor is obesity. If someone is overweight, like grossly overweight, okay, it can be a challenge to keep body odor at bay, especially if you're not washing and keeping the folds and rolls of your skin clean. And there are some people there, they do everything, they wash, they clean, but just because of their obesity, and their obesity is also linked to diabetes, then they will have that problem. Some obese people have yeast infections, which they may or may not know about. Maybe some yeast situation going on between the rolls of their fat. They don't even know about that, okay? Another disease that causes body odor is kidney disease, thyroid disease, and liver disease. These ones also cause people to have a certain body odor, okay? Now, the last one I want to mention, which is not the least and not the sum totality of it, is genetics. There are some people, body odor runs in their lineage, okay? It runs in their family, okay? So if you are having a body odor and you notice that someone else in your family, a blood relative, maybe a parent, a grandparent, or child, grandchild, has the same body odor, it might be a genetic issue, and you might have to see a geneticist, okay, to go and deal with that. All right. Now, along the lines of genetics and along the lines of lineage, when we start looking at the spiritual causes of body odor, spiritual causes of body odor are not always that someone has put a hex on you, someone cursed you, someone put bad luck on you, or did some hoodoo or voodoo or woo-woo on you. There are sometimes, again, from a spiritual perspective, there are certain lineages that just have that body odor. They are known. It is an identifying characteristic of that lineage. And anytime, especially in the olden days, when someone from that lineage came around, everybody will say, okay, I know you're from such and such family, because they could literally smell the person. And remember that a lot of smells that we consider offensive today, back in the day, were not considered offensive. Okay, remember that, especially in some parts of Europe, people never used to bathe every day. I remember one person telling me a story about olden days Germany, that back in Germany, back in the day, they used to bathe once a month. And the reason was that people in Europe at the time used to believe that bathing, especially bathing excessively, was unhealthy and could shorten your lifespan. So they would bathe like once a month or once every 2 months. And usually it was this big affair. They'll get a big tub, fill it with hot water, everybody gets scrubbed, and that's it, you're done. Okay. Same thing in the United Kingdom, also in France, Austria, where rich people, they wouldn't bathe, but they would keep on dousing themselves in perfumes and oils, and wipe themselves down with perfumed oils, and that was how they did their hygiene back in the day. So imagine someone going through pretty much most of their life not bathing. Okay, they're not going to smell nice according to our level now, but back in the day, people were used to that kind of smell and it didn't bother them. And remember also, back in the day, people used to throw their waste out on the street. This is before city planning, before people started thinking about city planning. Or maybe we need to have sewers, we need to have gutters, we need to have lavatories, we need to have specific places where we go do the do. Back in the day, it was a little chamber pot. Some of you might be old enough to remember that from grandma's house or parents' house, having like a little pea pot that people would use at night. You know, if you didn't want to go out to the outhouse, you know, you have that pea pot under the bed in the room, you pee in it, and in the morning it gets emptied out. So back in the day, in ancient days, you know, people would use that and then, you know, throw it out the window. And God help you if you were walking by their house and that stuff, you know, got dumped on your head. You know, people, every time you're walking on the street, I was made to understand, you always had to be looking around and making sure that nobody was about to dump their overnight wastes out the window as you're walking by their home. Okay, so you have things like that, you know. So again, from the spiritual perspective, I've also mentioned it in the video class that I did before on spiritual body odor. And if you haven't watched that video, I do encourage you to go watch that video. Spiritual odor can be classified. You know, you have some that are smelt by others and not by the victim. So you may not smell anything, but everybody around you is smelling something. And then you might have an instance where you can smell it, but the people around you can't smell a thing. And you are smelling this constantly, but no one can smell it. And which leads me to think that that might also be the medical condition that I talked about in the physical portion of this video. Okay. Now, what I didn't mention in that video that I'm going to mention in this video, because I did discuss with one of my spiritual brothers, and he reminded me of another cause of spiritual body odor. And there are some people who walk with certain spirit guides, okay? And those spirit guides may follow a person or they may follow the lineage. And so whenever that person walks into a room and that spirit guide wants to make itself known, it will start emanating this stench or this smell. Now, if you're in the room with the person, you will automatically assume that it's the person that is emanating that smell or emitting that smell. But in reality, there's nothing coming out of that person's body. It's that guy, that spirit guide, that spiritual entity that is with that person that is emanating that odor. And it's a way of letting the person and or the people in the room know that that entity, that spirit is right there in that room. There were some powerful spiritual practitioners that will have these spirit guides or deities that they worked with, and how they identified, how they knew the spirit was around was by the smell. So if you, like, most of us cannot see a spirit guide. Most of us cannot see a deity or god or goddess. We can't see them with our physical eye. So a way for that entity to make its presence known was to emit this odor that we could pick up with our noses. Okay, so there were some people who were not very nice people working with not very nice spiritual entities. And so whenever that entity started working or was present or wanted to start work, it will start emanating that smell. And that person and the people around would know, hey, this entity is here. Now, there are some Kabbalists, okay, people who practice Kabbalah, who work with certain entities, and there are certain entities when they are evoked, not invoked, but evoked into the chamber, the magical chamber of the Kabbalist or the alchemist or the magician. A way for that spirit to make itself known is to emit a smell that can be perceived by the magician or the person who is doing the ritual or the smell. So if the person now decides to form a covenant or to have a covenant with this entity, then you can put two and two together. Anytime that person will go somewhere and that entity goes to the person, it's going to emit the smell and everybody's going to know, hey, this person is here with their entity. Or if they're unfamiliar with spiritual matters, they will be saying, oh, this person is here. We can smell them. Okay, we can smell their body odor. We can smell the stench. Okay. A lot of the spirit guides and deities who did work that wouldn't be considered very nice would tend to have these kinds of odors. Now, that's not to say that it's only the ones that didn't do nice things or, that had this body odor, but most of the time, the spirit guides or spiritual entities who were not so nice and didn't do such nice things would have that kind of odor. Sometimes the entity would leave the odor as a signature. So after it's done doing what it's doing, it would leave that smell as a signature to let you, the magician or practitioner, or let other people in that area know that it was present and it's finished doing what it has to do, and it's gone and it's been on its way. Now, if you are smelling a body odor, you're smelling strange smells and they're not pleasant smells, again, I do encourage you to go get physically checked. Go get checked for all the diseases and infections and hormonal conditions that I talked about in this video class. Please go and get yourself checked. It is very easy to say, I don't want to spend the money on the doctor. I just want to pursue this spiritually. I'm going to tell you this right here. If your body odor does not have a spiritual cause, you are wasting your time and money pursuing spiritual solutions to a physical problem. I repeat, if your problem does not have a spiritual source, it is not caused by something spiritual, you are wasting your time and your money spending money on spiritual solutions, okay, when the cause is physical and you can treat it in a physical way. Now, if you have done and genuinely and authentically and spent time, money, and effort handling all of the physical aspects, you've checked yourself for infections, you've checked for diseases, you've checked for hormonal situations, you've checked your diet, you check what you put in your mouth, okay? You even check for deficiencies. I also found out that some people who are deficient in zinc and magnesium can have body odors. Can you believe that? Being deficient, some people, when they have zinc or magnesium deficiencies, they will have body odors. So imagine going to a spiritual practitioner, telling your story, convincing the spiritual practitioner based on your own self-diagnosis that your ex-father-in-law put something on you that gave you a body odor, spend all that money only to discover that all you needed to take was magnesium supplements. Wouldn't you feel kind of silly? That's why you need to go and get a comprehensive blood test done, get a complete blood panel done. Save some money, put some money together and get it done. Trust me, it is worth it. It is so much worth it. Okay. When you're going for solutions to body odors, again, there are different solutions. Some might require rituals in order to break you up with the offending spiritual entity or deity or spirit guide. Some may require rituals to wash you of possible offenses you may have committed, because there are some people, if they have done or committed what are called abominations, they have done things that are unspeakable. Sometimes, as a form of punishment, they may have a body odor. And I'm saying this spiritually speaking. They just have this body odor, this stench that they can't get rid of. Sometimes it happens with people who are not nice to other people, especially in very, very terrible ways. And, you know, we have to be mindful of the platform we're on while we're saying that. And if the spiritual crew of the victim is strong and powerful, but not strong and powerful enough to really get that person, or whatever the situation might be, you know, because someone could say, well, if they're that strong and powerful, why not get the victim away? Sometimes the victim stays. You know, remember we say people choose to do what they want to do. So you might have a situation where a victim, maybe due to age or finances or whatever, or disability or whatnot, cannot get away from their oppressor, and the oppressor is doing all kinds of things to them. The first thing, easiest thing for the victim's spiritual crew to do is to inflict that oppressor with a body odor. So a ritual will be needed to take care of that. After the ritual, and remember, this is found out through divination. So it's not somebody just saying, okay, I think you offended somebody, let's do a ritual and get rid of your body odor. No, a divination has to be done. And I emphasize it because so many people have come to me in consultation saying, I'm so convinced somebody did this to me. I've been everywhere and everybody's been telling me somebody did something to me. Okay, everybody everywhere has been telling you somebody did something to you to have this body odor. Why didn't they give you a solution? Why are we having this conversation? Because if they said somebody did it to you, they should be able to tell you what the solution is, okay, to what the person did to you. Feel me? Okay. So, if it is not as a result of self-diagnosis, you went and you asked a spiritual practitioner, I have a body odor, I perceive I have a body odor, or people have told me I have a body odor, can you tell me what the cause is? Without telling them about how you hate your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, your ex, or how you hate your boss, or how you suspect it was your former boss, or suspect this person, or just say to them, I'm having this problem. What's the cause of this problem? And let the results come out without you unduly influencing it. So if it comes out that that's what's happened, a ritual might be in order. And there's a whole bunch of rituals that can be done to tackle spiritual body odor. And after that ritual is done, then the practitioner will give you something to use to help cut it down until the ritual takes full effect. Okay. Now, there are some rituals that work almost right away, depending on what the situation is, but a lot of them take time to work, and then the practitioner may have to give you some soaps or lotions or oils or potions or something to take internally or something to apply externally to help you get the situation under control, so as to give the ritual time to work. Okay, I know this has been a long video, but I decided to take some time and make this video because of how important it is, and how many conversations I've had since I made the original video 2 or 3 years ago. So I was like, no, let us revisit this topic and revisit it a little bit more comprehensively so that people can understand what I'm saying. Because I have some people watching that video saying, oh, Dr. Tochi, I just want to tell you that your video is true. I have spiritual body odor and it was caused by my ex-boyfriend and stuff. And when I ask, well, how do you know? Oh, I've spoken to many people and they said it was the same. All of them are saying the same thing. And I say to them, okay, so what did they say the solution is? And usually they say, oh, they didn't have a solution. Bingo. You're not telling the truth. So I already know that. All right. So if you enjoyed this video, if you understood something, let's have your IAYE in the comment section below this video. Okay, if you have further questions or comments about this, or you have further insights on this topic, let's have it in the comment section below this video. We are thankful to our Creator, our guardian spirits, our ancestors, our spirit guides, for showing and sharing with us forbidden fruit that makes us live better lives and enables us to fulfill our destinies on this earth plane. Ashe.